1996, we sold Oregon Tilth certified organic catnip in all of our toys, and that practice and that model of sustainability has continued onward. And so we tried to, again, early on, figure out where we could align our brand and eco-friendly initiatives, and it's really essentially becoming one for us over all these years. One of the things that's certainly interesting is when we look at the statistics from Forbes magazine, the value of discarded packaging in the United States in 2010 was $11.4 billion. There's just a tremendous amount of resource put into this, both in terms of dollars as well as in terms of just the waste that there is there. And so when we think, gosh, is there a way to do a lot less packaging? That's one of the things that I think helps us move to a more sustainable future with packaging. So if you go to the next slide, Caitlin, one of the things that we've tried to look at is what do our customers want? And what we learned is that over and over they want less packaging, they want less waste, and so we've done research with our consumers, and they really have this expectation that a brand be eco-conscious, and I think they have a higher level brand of companies like ours that has a long history of being environmentally friendly, but this is certainly a growing trend, and I think it's wonderful. So it's certainly important, and one of our retailers has just put it so bluntly as to say green is no longer the expectation or the exception, it's kind of expected, and I think that's so very true. And so what we've tried to do with some of our packaging is bring it into alignment with our product and really do something that is not is durable, it's eye-catching, and we're trying to do it in a way that minimizes the impact. So if we can have all of those things work well, we know we've created a really good product. And so when we look at our recycled content and also the items that are recyclable on our packaging, all items that we have a minimum of 30% recycled content, and a lot of our packaging throughout the company that we use and also our paper solutions are 100% post-consumer recycled paper stock, and that's getting easier today. So I just encourage people to look at their local suppliers and make sure that they're using recycled post-consumer stock whenever they can. The next slide, one of the things that we really have worked on is try to minimize the packaging so that the product can really stand on its own. And if you can really think about making the product design so compelling that you don't really need tons of packaging, I think that's a really helpful thing. And I think there's 3 points here, and I think in our conversion to Microsoft we lost one of them, but we can read through them. We start with a simple design, and we look at fully recycled raw input as far as our packaging. So on this product, for example, the header card is 100% post-consumer paperboard. The plastic sleeves is 100% post-consumer recycled plastic, and that those are both recyclable. Obviously, the plastic sleeve is very hard to tell people where they can recycle that, and that's an opportunity for us to do an even better job of making sure they're well informed as how they can recycle those things. On the next slide, one of the things that I mentioned early on, one of the topics that we're looking for is how do you, as a company, reduce your financial and environmental wastes? And over the years, we've had the opportunity to make substantial improvements in packaging reduction. When we reduce the plastic content, we save material costs when we use post-industrial plastic in our new version. You can see this is sort of the version 1 of a product from back in 2005, and then the current product on the right-hand side. When you have lower packaging costs and increased recycling, it's a better alignment with the brand. And I think anybody would rather sell the product on the right. It's better for the retailer, it's better for the consumer, it's certainly better for the environment. The next slide is a very good visual. One of the things that we often hear is when you're buying packaging, when you're buying anything, conventional wisdom would say, order more, pay less. It makes sense on the day of the purchase because you've got this really good low cost on your packaging. But what happens when you do a changeover, whether that changeover was planned or not? The classic story at Westpaw Design is, we had to change over some product packaging. We worked with it for a year trying to figure out how we could minimize it, and at the end of the day, we couldn't. We had 1,000 pounds of packaging headed to recycling. We had $10,000 of wasted profits. And when I look at that, it's the classic scenario of if you buy in smaller order sizes, you have quicker inventory turns, you have less costly changeover. There's a lot less environmental waste, and there's a lot less profit loss on those changeovers. So we look at things both from the financial standpoint and the environmental standpoint. This is another opportunity, to work with your partners and your vendors. We've got a couple nationwide retailers that we sell to who have it as the standard in their business agreements that they will require polybagging on everything that they do. We've challenged our partners on this to help them question whether they really need these things done. And our toys have been exempted from that, in part because of our manufacturing facility. We can demonstrate a very clean, well-functioning facility, but also they want to be more green. So this is a great way to work with partners in the industry and push for them to not make these sort of egregious packaging claims that they have to have polybagging on everything. And then finally, moving on to just trying to keep it local. This is really important because I think if you purchase your packaging as local as possible, you're generally able to have a smaller order size. You're generally able to have a shorter lead time. You're also less costly product changeover, as I mentioned earlier, and you're able to support your local economy. And these are all sustainability objectives in our company, and the team does a great job of trying to find how they can do this. And I think our numbers are really impressive. At Westpaw Design, we accomplished this by having 98% of our packaged products manufactured under one roof, and 100% of the packaging comes from the U.S., and over 50% of it comes from our Rocky Mountain region. So that's what I have to present. I'll turn it back over to you, Caitlin, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Spencer. And it was really great to get a perspective from Westpaw Design, and really look at, okay, what does it look like for a pet company to implement some of these ideas that many of our packaging experts will be sharing with us.